Back now, the AU Heads of Government Summit is taking place this weekend. To dissect this, give us more regarding the AU, we're joined by SABC News Foreign Editor Sophie Mokoena via telephone. Sophie, welcome to SA Today. Thank you indeed for joining us. I think maybe top of the agenda for AU Heads of State and Government Virtual Summit, what should we expect come this weekend?
Well, I think the theme is the arts, culture and heritage, and I think those are the issues that they are going to focus on. But of course, the issue of COVID-19 will definitely be on the agenda, and I think they will start with the discussions around COVID-19, what it has done to the continent, and perhaps measures that were taken, whether were they effective, and perhaps where they erred, and what to correct going forward. But also to review you'd recall that on the 1st of January, the African Continental Free Trade Area started, and therefore they'll look at how far they've gone in terms of countries signing up to the African Continental Free Trade Area. And of course, we know that the president as well will be handing over the reins to the DRC president as the incoming chair of the AU.
Yeah. Before you go to the president of South Africa handing over the chairship to the DRC, we heard yesterday the health minister of South Africa speaking about COVID-19 and the continent and how hardly and how tough it could be for the continent if we don't get those vaccines in, one, and secondly, for the rest of the world to not forget that we need those vaccines as much as they do.
Yes, yesterday when he was participating in a panel discussion that was initiated by the Zimbabwean Professor Mandaza on the issue related to SABC in particular, how they have handled COVID-19, the leaders. The minister, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, warned the continent that is likely to be with us somewhere around June. For the opportunity we have now, or the time we have now, we have to prepare. Should we again experience the third wave around June, which is going to be winter time? And also, other people even speculating that around December again, we are likely to experience the fourth wave. And as long as this virus is still with us, it will continue to wreak havoc, particularly if we don't obey or comply with the health protocols related to COVID-19. The simple issue like wearing your mask, washing your hands, and also keeping a social distance and not going to crowded places. And therefore we'll continue to have this because the vaccine itself, the distribution of the vaccine, it is in phases, and it will take time before every citizen is able to get the vaccine. And remember, there are those who don't even want to take the vaccine. And we are all vulnerable if not all of us are safe. In other words, we will not be safe until all of us are safe. But also even to the international community, particularly these wealthy nations, the G7 in particular, they have to be aware that it doesn't mean that when the developed North is safe, the developing South will not be safe, but they will be safe. No, the movement of people and goods and services link all the countries around the world. That's globalization. Can't avoid that, and therefore it's important to work together.
Let's come back now, Sophie, the point that you mentioned, South Africa handing over to the DRC, the AU chairshipness, if I can call it that. SA's tenure as the AU chair, how can you summarize that under Cyril Ramaphosa before it heads over to the DRC?
Well, it has been a very difficult tenure for President Ramaphosa as the chair of the AU, the outgoing chair of the AU, because you'll recall that it was during this time when we were in Addis Ababa where he was taking over. But at that time already signs were there that we are facing a big challenge as the world, that this virus was going to spread. And that was the last time a big gathering was held by heads of state, contact to contact, but rather it was all the virtual meetings, and sometimes they can't even take 2 or 3 days. It just one day, because technology, much as it does assist, it is not as easy as it is when you are in a forum or you are sitting in a venue. You can discuss, you can even make progress. And therefore, this is a virtual meeting. I mean, a first virtual meeting since the inception of the Organization of African Unity, that has since been transformed in 2000 to the African Union. This is the first virtual meeting where they plan an agenda of the year. And therefore, it's not business as usual. It's a new normal. But handing over to DRC, many people are worried that the DRC is likely to have challenges in really addressing issues of the continent at a time where you also have COVID-19, looking at their infrastructure, and also the fact that there's a tension in that country. The former president, Joseph Kabila, and the current president don't see eye to eye. And that political tension is going to consume, a lot of energy, time, resource, particularly from the current president of the DRC. And the question is, will he be able to focus on issues that are related to the continent, but also particularly on issues of peace and stability and political stability? Where do you start when you are under siege?
Indeed, Sophie. Now, before I let you go, obviously, it's been a while since I had a chat with you on all foreign matters, and as far as your beat is concerned, we kept an eye on the United States over the past couple of months. The new dispensation in that country, it has come to be in the world, is watching what the areas of interest will be in as far as internationally. And they are possibly the one place that we look at most of the time to see how it will factor in on our lives on the continent.
Yes, the new president, Joe Biden, yesterday he issued a statement, and he spoke about the relationship between the United States of America and Africa. And as we predicted that perhaps the Joe Biden presidency will revive the relations between the two countries, but also remember that much as Joe Biden is likely to use a different language, a diplomatic language, the interest of America will remain the interest of America. But it is better when you have someone who is prepared to engage. I mean, his first utterances yesterday, when he was presenting his policy position or statement or media briefing, he started with Africa, which speaks to the seriousness in which he viewed Africa. Let's take a listen.
I'm honored to send the best wishes of the people of the United States in advance of the 34th African Union Summit. This past year has shown us how interconnected our world is and how our fates are bound up together. That's why my administration is committing to rebuilding our partnership around the world and re-engaging with international institutions like the African Union. We must all work together to advance our shared vision of a better future, a future of growing trade and investment that advances prosperity for all our nations, a future that advances lives of peace and security for all our citizens, a future committed to investing in our democratic institutions and promoting the human rights of all people, women and girls, LGBTQ individuals, people with disabilities, and people of every ethnic background, religion, and heritage. To reach this future, we also must confront the serious challenges we face. That includes investing more in global health, defeating COVID-19, and working to prevent, detect, and respond to future health crises, and partnering with the African CDC and other institutions to advance health security. Raising our climate ambitions and ensuring developing nations can mitigate and adapt to climate impacts that are already causing pain. And engaging in sustained diplomacy in connection with the African Union to address conflicts that are costing lives all across the African continent. None of this is going to be easy, but the United States stands ready now to be your partner in solidarity, support, and mutual respect. We believe in the nations of Africa, in the continent-wide spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation, And through the challenges ahead, although they're great, there is no doubt that our nations, our people, the African Union, we're up to this task.
Clearly, they're talking about mutual.
I want to thank you, though. Thank you. May God bless you all.
Sorry, you carry on, Sophie.
Clearly, they're talking about mutual respect. In other words, he's taking a different tone. He's trying to avoid a situation where America is seen as a bully. But yeah, we would watch, and we are here to monitor that relationship closely and also directly between us and the United States of America.
Interestingly, Sophie, the last time the African Union and an American president were in the same sentence, it was after the comment by Donald Trump in, I think, early January 2018, around the 12th of January, where Donald Trump labeled countries from, well, the continent as asshole countries. And it's interesting seeing the total shift, almost 360-degree turn from somebody who recognizes the importance of the African continent and what the possibilities are with it, Sophie.
I think any foreign editor or foreign correspondent will tell you that when it is the Democrats, the situation is much better in terms of tone and diplomacy. But practical terms, you find that the Republicans, if the president is a Republican, they do assist the continent or different countries on the continent. Tone is not satisfactory, and there's always tension and hardline. I mean, take for an example, former President Mandela and Bill Clinton. Their tone was so good, it ended up being almost like family friends, but not much was done. But when you look at former President Thabo Mbeki and President Bush, it was always a fight because you had former President Mbeki who took a hardline, a very Pan-Africanist approach, and a person who doesn't want a country or Africa in particular, to be looked down upon. And he had his views public. They clashed on multilateral forums. But a lot was done by Bush to assist Africa, particularly on health matters. You come to Barack Obama, it was nice because of his ancestral land, Kenya, but not much. So then you had Donald Trump not really saying much about us, doesn't take us seriously, but the project continued.
Yes.
How can we forget the donation of the ventilators
Indeed.
From the king of ventilators, who is currently in the wilderness?
Thank you very much. The SABC News, Sophie Mokoena, who's SABC Foreign editor. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Let's take a quick break. Stay with us. We're back at the top of the hour.